Hey, welcome back everybody. Sign here again with another episode of Techopolis 2. And I think I've got everything done. I decided to get most of the rest of the stuff done off camera. And so, gonna walk through everything here. So the crushers are all set up, ready to go. This one looks a little weird compared to this one. I did that one first, and then I'm like, it'd be a lot easier just to set this up like the others, and then just have a little jog here at the end. So, and actually changing this is how I died in that crusher. So, let me come over here to my ladder, I guess. I went through and I put some lights here and there. I've got this entire conveyor line set up here. Got vertical conveyors coming up, feeding into one line that merges here, and then we'll send all the items down this central bus belt. And we've got all these set up ready to go. Now over here, I've got this guy. And on the north side, it's going to allow crystal ore, ancient debris, and ender ore to flow down this belt. That's going to come over here and drop down the chute. Now, everything else that's left, dirt, sand, gravel, all that stuff, is going to keep going straight through that router and drop down that chute there. And that chute's going to drop everything into this line here. And we've got this set up that if it doesn't go, if it doesn't go up, or wait a second, this stuff here goes to the left, right? This gets pushed straight through. Everything else will go up. If it doesn't match any of these filters, then it'll come over here, drop through this chute, and rejoin this line here, and get sent into the system. And just in case anything weird ends up on the belt, I've got the second drop-in conveyor here, which is actually going to an interface hooked up to my refined storage system. So I'm not going to have to worry about items on the ground or anything. And then those three ores we talked about, the ender, crystal, and then the ancient debris, come over here, drop down here into this wooden storage crate. Got an extracting conveyor here, and then I've got ancient debris, ender ore, and then the crystal ore here. Crystal ore gets two pulverizers to process, because first we turn it into the actual crystal shard or whatever it is, and then we turn that shard into dust. Now, this one's a little interesting. Well, not interesting, but different. We've got anything that doesn't go in these machines is going to loop around the backside and go back into this crate. This is just a catch-all in case I need to slow down those machines over there. And to keep items from just like jamming up on this little belt here. We've at least got an inventory here that they can loop back around into. And then outputs for these machines come out the top. So that way I could just jog it up a little bit and rejoin or join up to this line here, which is then going to drop it here and go into the storage system. Now I'm using an induction smelter to process our ancient debris. And one of the main reasons for that is we get rich slag out of it. And I can just stick with using just thermal and immersive engineering machines for all this. I could, replace each one of these induction smelters with an arc furnace and just really make it overly complex and complicated, and I decided not to. It's just like, no. Yeah. The main reason is the graphite electrodes, right? These guys. There are two ways to make it. If I make it in the engineer's workbench with 4 hop graphite ingots, it comes out with 100% integrity. Or I can run through a metal press and it comes out with 50%. Which we can then use to, one of these 50% to make the blueprint so I can make it in the engineer's workbench. Or we can use them to make fluorescent tubes, which I've never actually played with because they're so flippin' expensive. It takes like half a stack of coal per tube. It's like, I'll wait on that. The downside is there is no unbreakable electrode, right? Like, I'm not sure, remember back in the day, Ultimate Alchemy, the pack by R.W. Tema, the same person who made Extra Utilities 2. Yeah, that one actually had an unbreakable graphite electrode you could craft. So that way you could use the arc furnace without having to worry about maintenance. Now, arc furnaces, pretty sure it's still the case. Did I lose? Yeah, I lost my manual. I'm pretty sure it's still the case, but at least older editions, there was no way to automate the replacing the electrodes into the arc furnace. And yeah, getting electrodes need to be replaced over time. And 3 slots at the top of the graphite electrodes, right? Additives, inputs and additives are inserted the 2 hatches atop the structure, inputs to the left, additives to the right of the electrodes, but there's nowhere to insert new electrodes. So certain machines can do it, or certain mods can actually do that. Basically, though, it's only the mods that can actually spoof a player interacting with that, that inventory, which we don't have any of those in this pack. So yeah, it means that occasionally everything would just stop running, and then I'd have to go through and start swapping out electrodes. While I'm doing that, everything is going to be grinding to a halt. Also, I figured out you can actually make covered conveyors with the treated wood scaffolding. So I decided, why not? Let's do these ones over here too. Found that out by accident when I went to right-click a treated wood scaffolding on top of one of them and swapped it out. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. So we should be ready to go to kick things into gear. There they are. Got those. Let's grab these as well. I'm going to want to also grab my screwdriver, just in case I need to tweak the speeds on any of these. And so first things first, though, you can hook up. We're going to start inputting gravel into the system. And you know what? Every 4 ticks. There we go. Because there's no processing of gravel. It just needs to go down the line and into the system. Same thing here with clay. And dirt. Whoop, I just picked one up. Didn't mean to. Here, go back again. Not the debris, though. Debris we actually have to process. Cobblestone. And then sand, right? Now, these are the items that I'm not going to be processing at all. They just need to go into our storage system. And now we have just a ton of items flowing down the conveyor belt here, right? Now, can I pick up items through the chute? I don't think I can. So here's a way to check. Yep, items are flowing through there, and I cannot actually touch those. All right, everything's popping up over here. Coming down here. And we should see, I think it's this one here. No, it's that one. Items are going over this drop-in conveyor and just disappearing, which means they're going into our drawers. I should probably do the same for obsidian, actually, because it also does not need processed. It might need, will need processing later on. Up, wrong way. Just not before it goes into the storage system, right? And let's also go ahead and we'll get our crystal ore started. And I'm going to slow you down to 20 ticks. 1 second. Let's see, the other one was our ender ore, which is right here. Right. There we go. Now we're exporting items at 1 per second. These are producing at every 90 ticks. So the cap block, once these are empty, the cap block will be what's controlling the rate of flow. And actually, while we're working with those machines, oh, glowstone. That's also something I need to just go ahead and export. There we go. Completely forgot about glowstone. Let's go ahead and get our debris hooked up now. And we're going to keep this at 20 as well. Just to slow things down for right now. And so that way I don't overload everything over here. Still have tons of items coming up over this way, which is awesome. Everything's working like it should. And immersive engineering belts actually have an incredible amount of throughput. Not as much as they used to. They used to have basic, I think it was an infinite throughput. Hey, we're starting to get crystal ore in. I just picked up a bunch of stuff I didn't want to. Dang it. Yep. There's that and that. Let's not jump while we're close to this belt. There we go. Now we have our ender shards. And then here soon we'll start getting debris in. Here we go. The machines are having to kick in a little bit now. The immersive engineering generators. And nothing is circling back, so everything is fine so far. As long as we can keep up with this rate, we're good, right? Now these machines, the pulverizers, they're extremely quick. They're sped up all the way. And they're not going to be a problem. This is a little on the slower side. So I'm waiting to see... There we go. We're going to start getting debris now. Okay. Yep, see, we're actually... Oh, no, actually, we're not doing terrible. Oh, wait a second. Give it a second here, because I kind of goofed a little bit at the beginning, didn't I? With the debris. Actually, no, that's just due to the fact that items like to bunch on belts. Which is actually vanilla behavior. It's the clumping mechanic they added in. So that like items clump together while they're dropped into the world. Which is working just fine. So our speed is good for these machines here. That's what I wanted to see. Now, yeah, there's a lot of stuff flowing through those belts right now. Once everything gets caught up, it's going to be a lot less herky-jerky. Once everything gets caught up, right? We're doing pretty good on some of the stuff, though. Like, how's our sand doing? Yeah, our sand is down. We're, like, under 8 stacks now. So, same with the cobblestone. And that's doing great. Yeah, you can see the items are just kind of bunching up and whatnot. We have clay glitching. Huh. Yeah, we got the obsidian doing the same thing down there. It's not actually jumping out of the belt. It's just the game is a little confused as to what it's supposed to be doing right here. Because I've got so many things riding on belts, and I just did a whole bunch more. How are we doing on, like, our ender ore? So yeah, it's going to take a while, because it's flowing decently here, but once it starts getting down towards where, like, the obsidian and everything else is joining the belt, that's where we're starting to have issues with items, like, really clumping up. So, once this and the obsidian empty out, it'll be a lot quicker. Which means I'm going to have to slowly introduce new items into this entire setup. Right? I can't just... Oh, I just picked up a bunch of cobblestone. Alright. So once these are empty, or, you know, close to, then I can start adding in, like, say, iron, or, you know, nether quartz. Which I could probably... Let's go ahead and kick the nether quartz on right now. You can have that back. And we'll leave it at 20 ticks. And you can see it's doing its little glitchy item thing as well. Looks like our clay is still... Our clay is actually done, right? This is now emptied. Dirt is empty. You are getting there. Okay. How about our cobble? Cobble's done. Sand is done. Sweet. So I'm going to guess, yep, gravel's done as well. Glowstone. We're down to 6 3/4 stacks, or whatever that is. How about our obsidian, right? Obsidian's down to 2.5 stacks. So once those are empty, things will start working out a little bit better. Bugger, I forgot which crusher was quartz. It's over here. Oh, it's this one here. All right, cool. And the crusher, you can hear it. It's shutting off occasionally. Which means the item flow is working like I want it to. Kind of. But it also means that these things are actually crushing the ores extremely fast. So, definite plus. And in fact, we've only had one generator kick on, and it kicks on for like a second at a time. A second and a half. It's working really good for us. Probably going to regret eventually having all of this stuff run on the same belt here, but, well, there and here. But it's working for now, right? Oh, I just picked up something. I picked up netherite scrap and some rich slag. Dang. Stop for a second. Stop. Get to your break. Dang it. All right, whatever. You know what, I'm just going to run over here and do that. I just need to be careful running onto this belt. I need to stay over here because I can pick up items through this slanted belt here. And how did I just get clay? Well, I picked it up whenever it was right there. Okay, that makes sense. All right, and I picked up a bunch of obsidian too. So how is our line looking? Our line is looking a little bit better over there. See, actually, we've got a cluster of glowstone sitting right there, though. That's not the greatest. And our quartz is actually struggling. It's trying to get items out of here as quick as it can, but yeah, it's at 1 item per second, so it's going to take a while. Now, the old version of the belt with the infinite throughput, yeah, it would have not have had this clumping issue. You could have God knows how many items on one belt at a time. I'm not sure why Blue changed it. Probably performance reasons, but I really do not like this new setup. The new way of doing things. Like in 1.12, you used to have you could have insane amount of items on a belt at a time. I was using like one main belt to move, I think it was like 10,000 items a second. There's one belt line like this. I mean, granted, it was framey as hell if you looked at it. But that's just because you were rendering just so many different item entities. But now with everything clumps up like this. I mean, like, we've got a dead section of belt there and there and there. Yeah. Not like the new belt physics. Things will speed up a good amount once we get this completely emptied out, though. All right, so I think I've got it sped up a little bit, and I've turned on redstone and iron now as well. And what I ended up doing is, well, first I shut off some miners here. And I just have a sticky piston pushing one of the frame blocks out of the way. But I put a item router here, and I've got this set up so that this actually is somewhat required, because the item router doesn't pay attention to which direction the belts are going. So half the items that were coming this way were getting shunted over here. So, and then immediately turning around and going back in. And it was actually bouncing some items just back and forth a couple of times. And I did not mean to do that. Do not want. Go away. Thank you. So, but this speeds up the interaction of the two belts merging into the one. Which was actually a major slowdown for whatever reason. The logic behind it was causing issues. So shoved an item router in there instead, and everything is working fine. Well, relatively fine now. I also went ahead and changed all my caps out to lapis. And the reason for that is lapis is almost half the speed of redstone. Yeah. The belts were having trouble keeping up. I'll swap things out as I need to later on. Speed certain resources up. But I want to get everything that's in these boxes here emptied out first before I worry about optimizing the caps. This is just to give everything enough time to get out of these boxes and down the line. Right now we're also running about emerald, redstone, and iron down here on top of everything we already had running beforehand. And let's go ahead then. Got iron, glowstone. Yeah, let's go ahead and do, aluminum? Slow that down, get that back. That's all I have to do is just slap down a extract conveyor on these and everything starts working just fine. Next up would be diamond. Let's go ahead and do that, right? Let's stress test this system a little bit. Not much point in stress testing it, because once everything is caught up with, everything in these boxes gone, then everything should be fine. But I should set up all the miners, but not put any boxes on them until I was ready to start the system up. I had 27 stacks of every resource ready to go, pretty much. And I'm looking to make sure items aren't bunching up right here. So they are taking a moment here to get to moving, and there's still this like really obscene gap here. This really, I hate that. And I was looking through the immersive engineering changelogs, whatnot. I did not see anywhere where they mentioned changing the behavior of the belts, but it's obviously different. So probably between 112 and 114. Which is a shame. I really do miss, how polished mods were in 112. But that's because Forge took forever to update beyond 112. But we've got a pretty decent throughput of items now. It looks like they're running off the edge, but not quite. So, fine by me. Don't mind at all. It's just a visual thing. And we have the only one really running on this side is quartz. So, you. Oh, redstone is... Okay, it's because redstone's going over that direction. This side would be lead and osmium. Okay. Coal and gold. We're doing okay, actually. Let me go ahead and hook up another one of these. Let's see. Oh, here's gold. Right. There we go. I could leave a max speed to empty them out quicker, but that would probably cause jams. So you can see here we're actually getting some aluminum stacking up here at the top of this belt. Okay, quit picking things up, but that was a full stack of aluminum just sitting there. Not too concerned about that, except the fact that if too many entities start piling up like that, then we're going to have, lag issues. So I think earlier I had 2 stacks of glowstone perched on top of that conveyor, just because it was having trouble inserting to the belt. So if this doesn't work out, unfortunately I'm going to have to rip all of this out, and we'll have to go with something. I know large networks of mechanism pipes are really horrible for servers, so maybe thermal item ducts, the opaque ones, right? Actually, no, thermal doesn't have item ducts yet, do they? Dynamics only has power and fluid. Hey. I really don't want to have to run a whole bunch of refined storage stuff over here. Let's see. If we look up pipe, we've got, fluid pipes, we got mechanical pipes. There's the logistical transporters from mechanism. If we look up duct, we've got the thermal ones, and then we've got the thermodynamic couplers, or conductors, which don't count. Item transportation, actually, in this mod pack is kind of limited. I mean, we don't have the pipes mod, we don't have pretty pipes, we don't have, like, XNet, we don't have integrated dynamics. What are some other big item transportation mods? Yeah, those are kind of the big ones, aren't they? I mean, there are other mods that have their own like item pipes and whatnot, but hey, yeah, this one's gold, right? Yeah, cool. Yep, there's gold coming through. So everything's moving like it should. We should see the aluminum one light up here. There it is. There's our aluminum. So we have 3 out of the 10 of the induction smelters running periodically right now. And we have this one lighting up as it goes. The backlog and all those ores are taken care of, though. Just trying to think of how I could work this. I could do some sort of complicated interchange. Probably starting from like here to, and then going to here. It's just like the spaghetti mess of belts and running through item routers and everything else. Yeah, it could work. But really getting the idea that the immersive engineering belts are not made to handle the variety of items that I am currently messing with here. It's not just the number, but the different types of items too probably are causing this thing issues. And it's definitely not made to handle, you know, a single main bus like this. Might be something I mess around with later on. But it's going to be interesting to see it all working. And we still only have one generator kicking on occasionally. All right, but let's go ahead and look at our drawer system down here. Something else I did while I was waiting, killing time, is, well, we're up to 8,100 sand now. We have so much more sand than, well, I've used a lot of dirt to fill out this platform, so that makes sense. The sand versus gravel is kind of interesting, though. But I went through. All these are now 6 emerald upgrades and a void upgrade. So, yeah, that's just going to be an absurd amount of items. We're probably never going to need the void upgrade, honestly. But just in case, right? And every drawer is set up the same way. Let's see. These are my personal, you know, small crafting job machines. But I think I'm actually going to go ahead and call this an episode. As I'm going through here, I'm going to go through and slowly introduce new items in. Honestly, I might start going through and just throwing a bunch of this stuff on the ground, because it's not really all that important. Right? And like, especially redstone, I don't need tons of redstone. I've got a lot of redstone right now, so that's not going to make a difference. I love how it actually lights up that block, though. And then the other one was gold that we were working on. Over here. Oh yeah, there's a ton of this stuff. But just, yeah, throw a bunch of this on the ground. Don't have to worry about it anymore. And it's going to cause some lag for about 5 minutes until these items despawn. But we'll get caught up a lot quicker. And let me just do this as well now. Just make sure you don't throw them onto the belt and everything's fine. Right. Kind of close there. Kind of close. The other option would be just to break the chest and let everything despawn and then replace the chest later on. And I'm picking all this up. It's too close. Let's see. Was it control? There was a way, I can't remember if it's like a mod I don't have installed or what, but there is a way to like drop all items that match the held item out of your inventory. And unfortunately, I can't remember what it is right now. So, it's a shame. But Control Q will drop the entire stack at a go. So, do I still have this on? Yeah, okay. That's why when I was holding control over ore, it was showing that giant black window full of text. It's all the tags and everything attached to the ore. And slowing that down doesn't make a bit of difference, except for this little moment in time where I'm just tossing a bunch of stuff out on the ground. Yeah, there's going to be a stupid amount of item entities on the ground for a while here, though. But thank you for coming out. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and until the next one, signing out. Have fun.